Disclaimer, I know nothing. With that being said, I would like to tell you about this funny little interaction that I had at a coffee place. So, I've been watching this business podcast. It was Tim Ferriss and some other dude, and they were just talking about business tips, negotiations, stuff like that. And the guy he has on, I remember now, Noah Kagan, he talked about the coffee shop discount, something like that. And it was a very simple thing. You go into a coffee shop, you ask for 10% off the coffee. And you're like, what? But it's like just to desensitize yourself to uncomfortable negotiations and just asking for things. It's also like a completely nonsense thing because it's like, why do you need a discount? Like, what's your reason? And so I was like, oh, this is sick. Another chance to like challenge myself and work on my sort of social anxiety. I feel like I don't have that much of social anxiety, but I definitely don't put myself out there as much as I should. I have gotten better at it, though. In college, I would always try to talk to girls at the gym. I think I'm like 10 L's deep and maybe like 1 or 2 neutral interactions. But either way, I haven't lost hope. And you know, it's reps. It's like reps in the gym. Every interaction you do this, you're becoming a little more comfortable with engaging that next conversation. Even if you're taking fat L's, which I was. But I digress. Onto the coffee thing. With this goal in mind, totally, I asked my friend, I'm like, yo, you want to get coffee tomorrow? Totally just wanted to do the coffee thing. He was like, yeah, he doesn't drink coffee though, so he got a hot chocolate, which is kind of funny. And so I go up, and there's this like Russian guy. And so I'm already off to a bad start because he doesn't speak that great of English. So, like, I order my coffee, and then I'm like, you think I could get a 10% discount on that? And he was just like, oh, okay, yeah, $5. And then just, like, starts going on the iPad, and I'm like, he didn't hear me. Like, he kind of just heard me say words and then just kept filling out the total. And so I had to go again, and I was like, do you think I could have a 10% discount? He was like, what? I don't think he was Russian. I think he was Polish. And so he's like, what? And so he turns around to this barista. Cute barista, by the way. I want to go back to the coffee shop for her. Oh God, that sounded weird. I'm sorry. And so then he turns around to her and he's like, can we do that? And she was like, 10% discount for what? And I was like, for fun. I shrugged my shoulders. I'm like, for fun? She just smiles and she's like, yeah, sure. And so then they're fiddling with the iPad. They could not even he couldn't figure out the discount. And then so she has to come over. I'm like, oh my God. I stopped myself from saying like a backtracking statement like, oh, it's okay, you don't have to worry about it. Like, I just sat there and I just let them figure that shit out. And then finally on the iPad screen, the second iPad, it said, I think it said 2 5% discounts because they could only add 5, which is so weird. But either way, I ended up getting like 30 cents off my coffee. And that was just by asking. A completely nonsensical question with like no backing at all. No backing. Like, I had no reason. I said for fun, for God's sake. And then this cute barista who had really nice bangs and a great smile. Whew, okay, she's like flooding my mind right now. I gotta. And she was like, yeah, okay. Sure. Okay. So, what can you extract from this situation? You should always ask, because you never know what's gonna come of it. Like, again, completely nonsense thing that I asked for, that I had no business deserving, and I got it. So imagine what you could get when you just start asking for shit that you might actually deserve, or people are feeling even more generous. Like, it's crazy. Side note, I talked to the barista afterwards. I was like, I gotta like talk to her or something. And so I ordered French press, which, if you're familiar with that, it's just like this little container where you put the grounds in, and then you put the water in, and then you push the little plunger down. And I didn't know what to expect when I ordered French press, but I just see her with this little cute, like, 1 serving size looking French press. I'm like, huh. I didn't know what to expect when I ordered French press, but here you are pressing your French press. And she's like, yeah. She wasn't like that. She was more neutral, but either way, I think it was like a positive experience. I'll definitely go back, same exact time, psychopathically. I sound like Joe from You. Go back and order French press again. Yeah. If she's not there, I'm wasting money on coffee. But yeah, that side note over. But conclusion: start asking for stuff. Start advocating for yourself, because you never know if they'll say yes. What if they say yes? What if they say no? Then it's like, whatever. You open that can of worms, there were no worms inside. But what if there were worms? Huh? You ever think about that? What if there were worms? Imagine what your life could be like if there were worms. Okay, were worms? So, open the cans. There's no reason not to open the cans. Oh, because it'll be an uncomfortable question and make them feel weird. Took like a minute for them to put 10% discount in the iPad. Okay? And whatever else you would probably ask for. Big whoop. They're uncomfortable for like 1 minute because you asked kind of a weird question. Whatever. Same with like talking to girls. Again, I always connect it back to this because this is my, one of the top struggles in my life. I'll call it struggles because I've taken just mad L's. But you can open the can of worms. It doesn't have to be weirdly asking for their number like right away. That always kind of rubs people the wrong way. And also just isn't good in a success rate sense. But just going up and talking to people, open the can of worms. Maybe they'll be a nice person and actually enjoy talking to you. I had one person that was like that. And then she ghosted me afterwards, so that was kind of a, that was tough. But, again, that was the most worms I've gotten. All the other times, no worms. But what if there were worms? That's it. There could be worms. People say, I'm not attractive enough. I'm not tall enough. I'm ugly. I'm socially awkward. Blah, blah, blah. Like, do it anyways. You think you're gonna get, like, better at doing that if you never do it? And then what if you never do it? You're only gonna exist on, like, Tinder and stuff? Wouldn't you like to better that part of yourself? To be able to talk to a girl without, like, shitting yourself? You walk up to a girl, or imagine a girl walked up to you, or guy, if you're a girl, or whatever, if you're whatever. Okay, someone that you would be interested in comes up to you, and they're like, hey, meh, 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 meh. And then you're like, oh, here's my phone, add me on Tinder, I can't talk to you right now. You want that to be you? You want to be so bad at opening worms that you're, 30 years old and you never tried to open a can of worms, and then someone, finally comes along and you're trying to open the can of worms and you're like, you you literally can't open the can of worms because you never tried. You gotta just start trying and start opening these cans. Because yes, sometimes there are no worms inside. You know what you do? You open the next can then, you stupid. It's not like you open one and then it's like, oh, you cut your hand on the can and you're bleeding out and then you die. No. You open a can and then you open the next can. Yeah, it might make you feel a little weird, but the next can you're going to open with more, what's the word? Tact? You're gonna open it with more skill, with more precision. You know, you're gonna start getting real good at opening those cans. And you're gonna just start shaking off when there's no worms inside. But then when there are worms, daggone it, you know you're gonna reap what you have sown. I'm getting way too abstract here. I need to just stop talking about worms. Just start like asking for stuff. Asking for stuff. Go advocate for yourself. Get out there and just try and get stuff. Because what if you get it? What if? If you don't, big whoop. You tried. Next. That's it. Yeah, try the 10% coffee roll. Just a silly thing, but what are you losing by asking that question? If they reject you, they're like, sorry, we can't do that. Okay. Go about my day. Oh, I feel really uncomfortable with how this Dunkin' Donuts worker cares about me. Like, yeah, you care that much about the perception of you by a Dunkin' Donuts worker who you will probably never see again. And if you do, they're just a Dunkin' Donuts worker. They're not like your friend that you have to interact with all the time, or like someone you see at like school. Someone you see when you pick up a donut and then leave. Just start asking questions. All right, I'm done. I'm done here. Get out of my face.